CSS backgrounds. Now, CSS backgrounds is something which we have been playing around with while we applied colors. Also, you can put images in backgrounds. An example you can see on this page over here. It is a simple image, and if you can see, it looks like as if it was a drawn pattern. The original image that I used over here is this. It's a simple PNG image, that is portable network graphics format, just like JPEG. However, this is much smaller in size. Therefore, since it has got too many spaces available, it repeats itself on the screen. How to set an image in the background? To our body, I have set this image using this property called background image. If I comment this out, all you have is a background color which I set. Meaning you can also have a background color set to your content so that in case if the image fails to load, you will have some color that loads in the background. That's just a safety feature for design purpose. Now, this is how you declare a background image. The attribute is background dash image, and the value is supposed to be URL. And inside parentheses, that is these brackets, you have to surround with quotes the exact location of the file. Now, the exact location of the file is in this same very root folder. I've created one more folder called images, and under that, I have the file test.png. Therefore, in my file, I have mentioned the source to be as dot as in current directory slash, that is a name of a directory again images slash again inside that directory you have test.png and the image is set. Now suppose you don't want to have these images repeating themselves, which is the default nature of background images inside HTML. You can simply apply the property as of background repeat, and if I say no, it does not repeat and it only sets it once. The background repeat feature can be direction specific. You can make it to be not repeatable only on the X or the Y plane. Let's try that out. I'm going to comment this and now I'm going to. So if I set it to background repeat X, this means it will repeat only on the X axis. Whereas if I use background repeat Y, it repeats only on the y-axis. Now you must be wondering, I've set it repeat x once and again on repeat y. However, it only followed the y action because when this instruction is read sequentially, your browser thinks that it has to follow the latest instruction over here. So in our case, I'm just going to keep whatever I want and I'm going to take away and apply the no repeat over here. So since this is not a pattern to be filled in the background and I wanted this image to be as a permanent fixed background image, I can also control its size by using this simple property known as background size. By background size, you can either set it to be an auto size, which it is set now, which is by default, or you can also have a cover option. What cover does is it consumes whatever property can be consumed first. If the width of the image can occupy the available width immediately, it occupies that, and the remaining part is left blank as you can see below. Okay. If the image was a portrait image, it would have taken up the 100% of the height very easily. In such cases, you can make use of the background repeat Y property again so that the image repeats below since it has taken up the full width. This is again more about your choice of design and your need of design that has to be applied. Let's say I do not apply the cover, but I apply the contain property. What it does is it just ensures that the image is put inside the background without having to consume any extra space that it needs. Now, to understand the background size properly, we are going to check this out with a different image altogether. I have a second image which I have in my directory. It's called ducks.jpg. And the ducks.jpg image has a very high resolution as you can see over here. It's about 4000 plus pixels by 2000 plus pixels. Let's see how that appears when I try to set it on a web size which is very small compared to its original. So I begin with replacing the name of the image over here. And as you can see, the size of my screen is pretty much less than 4000 pixels in width. And therefore, the image appears distorted or stretched. This, however, can be fixed by using the background size property contain. The moment I use contain, it has basically contained itself inside of the background container. And I can also use background repeat property to create a pattern out of it. This is, however, a very bad practice because if you have a huge image, that is too much of rendering you're doing on a page. So if you are going to have a small pattern, try having a smaller image. And in this case, instead of contain, I would simply use cover. What cover does is cover consumes whatever property that is width or height that can be consumed by this image. Now, in scales over here, this image is consuming the width because the size of the screen available to it is smaller. The moment I turn this into a full screen, the background has taken up the full width that is available. This is more to do about size constraints, that is, whether it's a 4 is to 3 image, whether the screen size of the target audience is 4 is to 3, etc. etc.